My girlfriend posted on Instagram. I'm not anyone's property. A woman has rights. She did it minutes after I caught her texting her ex behind my back. I just smiled. But when she came back to log in later, what she saw waiting for her changed everything. My girlfriend jumped on Instagram and posted, I'm not anyone's property. A woman has rights. The timing couldn't have been more ironic. She did it just minutes after I caught her texting her ex behind my back. I didn't yell or argue. I just smiled to myself. But later, when she logged back in, what she found waiting for her flipped her whole world upside down. And believe it or not, it all started with a bowl of leftover chili. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's the truth. 3 nights ago, I was on the couch, eating dinner and scrolling through my phone while my girlfriend, Madison, was in the other room on yet another one of her endless work calls. We'd been together 5 years, living under my roof for 3 of them. I'm 38, and I run a small web development company. Madison's 32 and works full-time as a lifestyle blogger and influencer, a career I personally helped build from scratch. Her laptop sat open on the coffee table, screen glowing with her messages. We'd always had what I thought was an open device policy. Nothing to hide, right? Then a notification popped up, and the name on it made my gut twist. Tyler, her ex. The same guy she swore was a toxic mistake she had erased from her life completely. His message said, last night was amazing, can't stop thinking about you. I swear, my blood turned to ice. I clicked their chat history, and my stomach dropped. It stretched back months, secret meetups, playful texts, pictures I'd never laid eyes on. Suddenly, all those late-night yoga classes and weekend brunches with her girlfriends made a sickening kind of sense. Just the night before, while I was busting my back finishing a project that would fund our vacation, she had been with him. I didn't blow up. I didn't even say a word. I just sat there with that bowl of chili in my hands, and it might as well have been ashes. 5 years of my life replayed in my head, but now it was through a filthy, broken lens. I thought about the countless hours I'd poured into her career. Back when we met, she was a receptionist with nothing more than a vague idea about being a blogger. I was the one who bought her domain. I designed and built the entire website myself, spending night after night making sure it ranked on search engines. I walked her through analytics, affiliate links, and brand partnerships. I even set up the legal side, registered the company in both our names for tax reasons. I was the silent, unpaid tech guy running everything behind her polished image. I did it because I loved her. Or maybe because I loved the version of her I thought was real. She came walking back into the room then, phone to her ear, laughing. Okay, talk soon, bye, she chirped before hanging up. She dropped onto the couch next to me, kicked her feet up, and groaned. Ugh, brand calls are the worst. So needy. That's when I turned her laptop around so she could see the screen. Her smile vanished instantly. For one split second, panic flashed in her eyes, raw, exposed fear. But just as quick, it was gone, replaced by sharp defiance. What? You're snooping through my private messages now? She snapped, snatching the laptop out of my hands. That's a complete invasion of my privacy. I kept my voice even, almost too calm. It said last night was amazing. You were with him, Madison. Last night. While I was working. She scoffed, crossing her arms like I was the crazy one. Oh, please. Tyler and I are just friends. You're being insecure and controlling. Friends? I asked, spitting the word like it tasted foul. Friends who say they can't stop thinking about you? Friends you sneak off to see for months behind my back? I'm not going to be interrogated in my own house, she fired back, her voice climbing. I have a right to have friends. I'm not your property, Alex. A woman has rights. She stormed out, phone in hand, stomping up the stairs like a teenager. I just sat there in disbelief. The audacity of it, to be caught red-handed and then flip the script to make me the villain, was almost impressive. She wasn't sorry. She was just furious that she'd been exposed. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. Instagram notification. Madison had just posted a selfie, staring dramatically out a window, with a long caption underneath. It read like some kind of empowerment speech, just a reminder that you are not anyone's property. You have the right to your own life, your own friends, and your own privacy. Never let a man's insecurity dim your light or control who you are. A woman has rights. And just like that, she started shaping the story for the world to see. I was now the insecure, controlling boyfriend. She was the strong, independent woman breaking free. Her 150,000 followers, who had no clue I'd built the very platform they were reading, ate it up instantly. The comments poured in. You go, girl. So true, queen. Dump his toxic self. I sat there staring at her post, thinking about those messages burned into my brain. And then, I smiled. Not the happy kind. The kind of smile you make when you suddenly see the one move that can flip the whole game on its head. She thought her power was in her followers, in the shiny image she presented online. She forgot I was the one who built the stage she stood on. I set up the lights, I controlled the sound, and I still had the keys to the whole theater. She wanted to talk about rights? Fine. We'd talk about them. That night, I locked myself in my office. First thing I did was separate our money. I moved every dollar that came from my business and my inheritance into an account only under my name. Out of fairness, I left her with the tiny portion she had actually contributed. Next, I logged into our credit cards and removed her as an authorized user. Just like that, the financial cord was cut. Then I turned my attention to her so-called empire, her online life. I started with the blog. Since I had full administrative control, I changed the password. Then, one by one, I took down every single post she had ever written. 5 years of content disappeared in 20 minutes. I replaced her fancy homepage with a plain white screen and a single black line. This site is currently under new management. Please check back soon for updates. Then I moved on to her social media. Thanks to my password manager, I had them all: Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. I went ahead and changed every single password along with the recovery emails, swapping them from her accounts to a fresh email I'd set up just for this. I didn't delete her posts, not yet anyway. I just archived them so no one else could see. All those colorful, carefully polished profiles she'd spent years building, they were now nothing but blank pages. After that, I turned my attention to the business, the company we were both listed as co-directors of. Using a standard legal template, I drafted a formal letter calling for an emergency board meeting to discuss dissolving our partnership. The stated reason? That her behavior had dragged the brand's reputation through the mud. Was it a bit of a legal stretch? Sure, but it was enough to get her attention. By 3 a.m, Madison's entire digital empire, her income, her image, her identity, was completely in my hands. Meanwhile, she was still upstairs, probably snuggled in bed dreaming about her empowered, new life with Tyler. She had no clue she was about to wake up with nothing. She thought she was a queen sitting safe in her castle. What she didn't realize was that her castle was made of sand, and the tide was rolling in. Update 1 to 24 hours later. The house felt quieter than usual that morning, like the silence itself had weight. Before I go on, I've got to say, thank you to everyone who's commented and shown support. It's a strange kind of comfort to know I'm not the crazy one here. Around 9, Madison finally came downstairs, dressed in yoga pants and a crop top, ready to dive into another day of posing and posting. She didn't even look at me, just headed straight for the coffee maker with that smug air of defiance she wore so well. She grabbed her laptop from the living room, sat at the kitchen island, and opened it up like she was about to greet her adoring followers. I stayed at the table, sipping my coffee, waiting. She typed her Instagram password. Pause. Frown. Typed it again. Her brow furrowed deeper. She tried Facebook. Same result. I watched as a flicker of annoyance crept across her face. Muttering under her breath about her glitchy phone, she switched to her website's admin panel. That's when I saw her mask crack for the first time. Her eyes locked on the plain white page with its single black sentence. What is this? What happened to my site? I didn't even bother looking up from my mug. Looks like it's under new management. Her head whipped toward me, eyes wide, horror just starting to set in. What did you do? I protected my assets, I said calmly. The ones I built. She scrambled for her phone, her fingers moving so fast they blurred. I can't log in, she whispered, her voice shaking. I can't log into anything. My Instagram. It's blank. All my pictures, everything's gone. That was it, the panic. The realization that this wasn't a glitch, that it was real. You can't do this, she screamed, bolting to her feet so hard the chair screeched across the floor. That's my career. That's my life. You can't just take it from me. Our career, I corrected her. We're co-directors of the company that owns all of this. And as lead technical director, I've decided to put the brand on hold until we can review the partnership. You should check your email. I sent a notice about the emergency board meeting. The color drained from her face. Finally, she understood. All those boring legal details she brushed off, they weren't just paperwork anymore, they were chains. This is because of Tyler, isn't it? She spat, her fear turning into fury. You're doing this to punish me. This is illegal. I'll sue you. Go ahead, I said, taking another sip. I'm sure your lawyer will enjoy scrolling through your little chat logs with Tyler, especially the parts where you brag about meeting him while I was paying for your lifestyle. That's textbook breach of fiduciary duty to the company. She didn't respond, just stared at me like she didn't recognize the man sitting at her kitchen table. The fierce, empowered woman from Instagram was gone. In her place was someone cornered, terrified. Then she grabbed her keys and stormed out, the front door shaking on its hinges as she slammed it behind her. The fallout came quick. Around noon, the emails started rolling in, from the brands she had sponsorship deals with. Since I was the primary contact on every contract, they all went straight to me. They were confused. Her social media was empty. Her site was down. What was going on? I replied to each one with polite professionalism. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the Madison Chic Life brand is undergoing major restructuring. We'll be in touch regarding future partnerships. Apologies for the inconvenience. After that came the phone calls. First from her friends, demanding to know what I had done. My answer never changed. Madison and I are handling a private business issue. Stay out of it. Then her mother called. She let loose, screaming about how I was a monster, how I was trying to ruin her daughter's life. My tone didn't waver. I didn't do anything, I told her flatly. Madison made choices. She's just dealing with the fallout now. Maybe you should ask her about Tyler. I hung up before she could get another word in. By mid-afternoon, I knew exactly where Madison had gone. Straight to Tyler's apartment. Around 3, an unknown number popped up on my phone. I answered, and sure enough, it was him. Dude, you need to back off, he said, his voice straining to sound tough. You can't just steal her stuff. Give her back her accounts. Stay out of this, Tyler, I told him. This is between me and my business partner. She's not your partner, man. She's your girlfriend. You're acting like some psycho ex. Actually, I said, enjoying every word. If you check the state business registry, you'll see we are legal partners in an LLC. An LLC you've been helping her sabotage. My lawyer has your name already. He calls it tortious interference. You might want to Google that. He hung up. I'm guessing the threat of a courtroom wasn't part of his rescue fantasy. I spent the rest of the day boxing up Madison's things. Not shoving them into trash bags. That would have been petty. No, I bought boxes, tape, markers. I folded her clothes neatly, wrapped her fragile stuff in paper, and labeled everything. It felt organized, deliberate, like closing a chapter. When she finally came back around 8 that night, the fire was gone. She didn't look smug or defiant. She looked wrecked. Her eyes were red, her face blotchy from crying. She didn't shout this time. Her voice was barely a whisper. Please give them back, Alex. That's all I have. I looked at her and shook my head. No, it's not. You had me. You had this home. You had someone by your side who would have done anything for you, and you tossed that away for him. Everything, the blog, the followers, the audience, that was work I put in for you. It was never really yours to begin with. I pointed toward the stack of boxes by the door and told her her personal stuff was already packed up. I even offered to help load it into her car. She didn't move, just stood there crying, finally realizing what she had actually lost. It wasn't just her login details she no longer had. She had lost her whole world. Update 2, 1 week later. It's been 7 days since everything came crashing down online. The silence in the house is still something I'm adjusting to. I want to thank everyone again for the support. It's honestly been strange, but comforting to lean on your words during all this. Madison's exit from my life was pitiful. She called her dad to come help her haul her things. He showed up looking like he was ready to throw punches, but he managed to keep himself in check. The whole time he glared at me, huffing and puffing while dragging boxes out, as Madison cried in her car. He tried starting an argument once, accusing me of being spiteful. I looked him straight in the eye and said, I'm just a man who found out his girlfriend of 5 years cheated. The rest is business. You, of all people, should understand that. He didn't have a reply. The days after that felt like watching somebody try to fight back the ocean with a bucket. Madison's first move was to launch new social media accounts. She branded it as The Real Madison. No filters, no lies. She posted a long, emotional video accusing me of being a toxic ex who stole her life's work and tried to silence her. It fell flat. Her following was shattered. She had no way to reach her old audience. And more importantly, I had the receipts. I didn't fight her in public. I didn't need to. I just sent one short, clear email to a few of the biggest brand managers she'd worked with. It included screenshots of her messages with Tyler, dates, and times right there in plain view. I simply wrote, "This is the breach of conduct I mentioned. This is why the brand is being restructured. I trust you'll handle this with discretion. This industry is smaller than most people think." Within 2 days, her little comeback attempt was dead. Not one brand wanted to touch her. Word about her cheating and her lack of professionalism spread like wildfire in the back channels of influencer marketing. Her smear campaign against me never had a chance, because the folks with the money already knew the truth. Her next move was to get legal. A letter showed up from a lawyer she'd hired, demanding I give back all the digital assets and stop using her name and likeness. My lawyer sent a reply the very next day. It included a copy of our LLC agreement, with both our signatures clear as day. Along with that was notice of my intent to sue her for breach of fiduciary duty, misusing company funds for secret trips with Tyler, and damaging the brand's reputation. The letter closed with a reminder that if she wanted to keep pushing, all of it, including her affair, would come out in discovery, right there in the public record. 2 days later, her lawyer called mine to back down. She couldn't afford a fight, and more than that, she couldn't afford the humiliation of her private mess being dragged into a courtroom. As for Tyler, he vanished. A mutual friend told me that once he realized there could be real legal or financial fallout, he cut ties immediately. Blocked Madison on everything. He had no interest in the real Madison, the broken one with nothing left. He only cared about the glamorous version she portrayed online. And when the glamour disappeared, so did he. The most satisfying part of this whole ordeal has been the rebranding. I reopened the website and social accounts, but they're completely different now. I removed the under new management placeholder and turned the site into the official portfolio for my web development company. I uploaded case studies of my work, including an in-depth, anonymous breakdown of how I scaled a lifestyle blog from 0 to 150,000 followers in 3 years. It showcased my SEO, branding, and social media strategy skills. The Instagram account is now my company's page. I archived nearly all of her old photos except a few neutral ones, landscapes, coffee shots, things like that, and started posting about web design, marketing tips, and tech news. I updated the bio to founder and lead developer. I build brands. The irony is hard to miss. Her platform, built on fake appearances, is now proof of my real abilities. And just this week, I've had 3 serious client inquiries, including one from a major company, all impressed by the transformation. I'm sure Madison sees this. She must be watching her old work being replaced with mine. She must see the follower count holding steady, now engaging with my content instead. She built an image around a life that wasn't real. I've turned it into a platform that showcases actual, marketable skills. Her parents keep reaching out, calling me, leaving messages about forgiveness and second chances. I've blocked their numbers. This was never about forgiveness. It's about consequences. Madison built her identity on something I created. When she betrayed me, she forfeited that. Simple as that. She had no claim to my work, my time, or my loyalty after making her choice. Final update, 3 months later. It's been 3 months since my life flipped upside down. The house is quiet, clean, and fully mine now. A moving company came 2 months back to haul off the last of Madison's boxes. I wasn't there. I didn't need to be. That story ended. And the fallout from Madison's online collapse was bigger than I ever imagined. Every attempt she's made to revive her career has gone down in flames. The influencer world is built on authenticity, or at least the illusion of it. Once that illusion was shattered, she had nothing left. Her name was tainted. She was the girl who cheated on the guy who built her entire career, and then lost it all overnight. It was a cautionary tale whispered in marketing circles. From what I've heard through the grapevine, her life has been a series of harsh reality checks. After Tyler abandoned her, she tried to move in with one of her influencer friends, but that lasted less than a month. The friendship, it turned out, was as transactional as her brand partnerships. Without her status and access, she was just a liability. She ended up having to move back in with her parents. The last I heard, she was working as a hostess at a restaurant in her hometown. There's a brutal poetry in that. The woman who curated a life of fake luxury online is now seating people in a real-life restaurant, forced to smile and be polite for minimum wage. Her Instagram post about a woman's rights rings hollow now. She had the right to make her choices, and I had the right to not fund them or enable them. She had the right to a life without me, and now she has it. My life, on the other hand, has been an unexpected renaissance. Transforming her old blog and social media into a portfolio for my business was the single best marketing move I've ever made. The story of the rebrand, though I've never publicly confirmed the details, became a sort of legend in my local tech scene. It's brought in a wave of new clients, bigger and better than any I had before. I've had to hire 2 new developers to handle the workload. The business has doubled in revenue in the last quarter alone. I took the brand she nearly destroyed with her lies and rebuilt it into a thriving enterprise based on my truth. I did get one final, pathetic communication from her about a month ago. It was an email sent from a new address. It was a long, rambling apology, the kind people write when they've run out of options. She said she was sorry, that she was foolish, that she missed me. She asked if I would ever consider selling the website and social media accounts back to her. She said she was a different person now. I didn't believe her. People like Madison don't change. They just change tactics. She didn't miss me. She missed the life I provided. She missed the platform, the income, the adoration. I replied with a single sentence. The brand is not for sale. I never heard from her again. The revenge in the end wasn't about destroying her. I never leaked her messages. I never publicly shamed her. I simply reclaimed what was mine. The consequences she's facing are not my creation. They are the natural result of her own actions. She built a house of cards on my foundation, and when she tried to burn the foundation, the whole house came down. I'm dating someone new now. She's a graphic designer, and our conversations are about code and color palettes, about building things together, not just for show, but for real. The other night, we were looking at my company's Instagram, the one that used to be Madison's. She pointed to one of the old, archived landscape photos. "That's a beautiful shot," she said. "Where was it taken?" "It was from a trip a long time ago," I said. And for the first time, there was no anger, no bitterness, just distance. The view was great, but the company wasn't. And then I archived the last of Madison's pictures. The slate is completely clean. I'm building something new, something better, on a foundation of my own, and this time I'm the only one with the keys.